Welcome to the Social Slice Podcast. My name is Alicia Henley.
And my name is Noble Crawford.
Social Slice gives you a slice of marketing, branding, and social strategy.
From some of the top influencers in the business, we dive into the best practices, tools, and tips
to help you connect, engage, and grow your brand. Grab your slice. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Social Slice Podcast. Today, I'm excited as always. We've got two of my faves. Honestly, these guys, I call them the fun gang because they're just outrageous. But I would like to introduce Bryan Meszaros, CEO, aka the Big Cheese of OpenEye Global, and Steven Picanza, the Marketing Director, aka the Creative Hustler. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Hey there. Stoked to be on here. Totally stoked to be on here. I'll say that.
Yeah, this is awesome.
I'm so happy to have OpenEye on with us. Now, you guys are an experienced design agency. You know, y'all have been DJing the consumer experience, mixing and remixing tech since like 2002?
2001. Yeah, 2001.
That's debatable.
Debatable, yeah, I'm sure. So, Bryan, as the Big Cheese, tell us a little bit more about what you all do at OpenEye Global, the culture there. Tell our listeners what's up with y'all.
So we've been around 2001. So we're technically 16 years old in December. So we become I know it's our Sweet 16. So
Sweet 16.
It's another party year. But we're a digital experience design agency. We originally started as an AV integrator. And, we kind of found over the years that, our clients are really asking, you're recommending all this great tech and you're putting it in, but what really can we do with it? And, we're all designers at heart, and we went to school for it. And we started to really apply a lot of design thinking to what experiences and things that we were putting together for our clients. And we started to realize that there was more value in really helping them understand how to take advantage of this investment. So they're putting in screens and tablets and looking to use mobile, and really got to the point where they were coming to us and saying, all right, it's a blank canvas. How do you help us use all this great technology that's around us and turn it into something meaningful for our clients? And then so we started to get into this point of really designing an experience from scratch and looking at the client and say, well, what are you struggling with? What are your challenges? And how can we help you, design something that allows you to communicate better, to help your customers better experience the environment that they're in, to learn, to educate, to navigate. And we found ourselves essentially evolving into this point of being a real true experience design agency. And we had the background in tech. We understood the design side, and we just found an opportunity to really combine both of them and turn it into what it is today.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
See, you found a specific niche and ran with it. So, Steven, how'd you get involved?
Oh boy, it's such a great story now. Bryan and I was at another agency years ago, and so I've always had an agency background, and I come from the traditional branding world, and I owned shop for a couple of years, and we ended up closing those doors in about 2011. And I joined another firm just to work on some really cool projects and to work on some, different brands. And I happened to meet Bryan through a mutual friend, a mutual colleague of ours. And, one thing led to another. And Bryan and I found ourselves in Dusseldorf, Germany together, of all places, at Euroshop. Yeah, Euroshop is basically like Global Shop, but it happens every 3 years, and it's very much much larger than Global Shop. And because of it's so large, a lot of American like tour groups kind of put together organized tours over there. And Bryan and I found ourselves on a tour together. And we just sort of, we had a similar thinking. We had a similar thinking in regards to design, in regards to agency life, and just how, coming from the traditional agency world, sometimes the agency life isn't glamorous. And creativity doesn't always prosper, and it's a lot of time processes over people, and it's just everything that we don't like about the agency world. And a couple months later, I found myself a free agent, and I called Bryan. I'm like, hey man, like out to bat, you got any projects going on that I could help you out with? And one thing led to another, and ended up coming in and helping with Bryan, and as well as our interactive creative director Andy, kind of rebranding OpenEye and taking OpenEye from what it was for so many years, which Bryan did an amazing job building this infrastructure and building this team. But it got to the point where, like, in order to scale to that next level, the brand needed to evolve as well. And since that day, in about 2012, I would say, it's been, full steam ahead on working on, everything, OpenEye branding, messaging, internal creative, helping Bryan, take the culture and really cultivate the culture and make it into something that might actually be, I hate to use the word sellable, but might be advantageous for other people to look at and aspire to be like. And now, coming into 2018, and I really feel like the best is yet to come. We're just getting started. And Alicia, you said it, we've sort of found our niche. We found where we're going to be, I think, the most successful. And having that confidence really allows us to go ahead and attack the marketplace in a way that other agencies that aren't so confident, might go about it. And so, in a nutshell, that's sort of how, that's really my role within OpenEye and how I work with Bryan and the rest of the team. Yeah.
I also have to add in there, he won me over with his Frank Sinatra references. So
I just threw one in there. So you caught that, huh? Bryan's got a tally over here. He's like, check mark for Jersey.
There you go.
Well, we are certainly glad that you guys ended up hooking up and developing the company and the brand that you have. And we're super excited to have you both on the show with us today. I'm going to start off with the leading question, and either one of you or the both of you can take a shot at answering it. But we understand, the product that you provide can be a pretty, complex product, or the end result. Everything you go through can be complex getting to the end result. So can you walk us through like what goes into the discovery, the design, development, and the deployment of these experience or interactive or immersive experience designs that you guys put together?
Yeah, it's
quite the question.
That's a good, very loaded question. There's two answers to it. In an ideal world, a client will really allow us to go through a discovery. They'll allow us to come in and learn about their brand, learn about their business, their customers, their pain points, and really look underneath the hood. And it's from that session and spending time with them that we can start to extract some ideas on what we need to focus on. This is the problem. This is what we need to solve. And this is the solution, the experience that we're thinking of that we can start to engineer for them. And then it's on to obviously designing it. And it's again, spending time and taking elements of the brand and how does that, how do you want your customers to see it? How do you want them to experience it? How can that be brought to life and visualized so it embodies everything that the brand stands for? And then we see that through into execution and how do we, turn this into a reality to where it's not just an idea, it's taken from paper into the place. And then we continue to help them continue to nurture this idea. And once we have it, execute it and be able to help them, integrate the technology to help them continue to maintain it and service it. And we like to have an ongoing relationship with our clients. So it's not just, here you go, and you're off and running. We like, kind of say to them, look, we're helping you solve one problem, but there's a good chance we're going to create other ones because you just have to, with these type of experiences, I mean, like anything, it's you have to keep feeding the beast. You have to keep it making relevant. And the other side to it, which I think a lot of your listeners will definitely appreciate, is that you never bought in the ideal situation. You're bought in after the project is already, 5-6 weeks down the line. They've already bought the technology, the screens are on the wall, and it's like, well, here you go. And I hate it. It sucks. But, it's still like we try to force them at least to go maybe a step back, say, okay, we got what you're working with. That's cool. Let's think through this a little bit before you start spending some more dollars on this, and make sure that at least we can salvage what you've done already. And I mean, that happens more than we wanted to, but that's the reality of it. Is, a lot of people go out there, they go to the trade shows, which is great. They see the technology. I want that, put that there, and they do that. And then they don't think about its ramification. And, we still try to apply some strategy to it. I think everything, no matter what part in the process we get into, we try to apply some strategy, some higher, thinking to it, to say, have you thought about this? And, this is what we can do with that. This is the outcome of it. And, we're really trying to get involved at this point where, the client can spend hours of trying to experiment with this way or that way. And we've done that already. We've been there. I mean, we got 16 years of making mistakes and scars that we can say, look, this is what we've learned from, and this is how we can help you avoid going down that rabbit hole. So, yeah, so there's kind of two sides to that, but it's really this higher level of thinking that we apply that enables us to design experiences that solve their problems. I mean, that's what the whole process is meant to do.
Got it. So that was a loaded answer, and I got a ton of questions.
That's just one cup of coffee.
Me too.
Right. So, no, that's good stuff. So let's back up a little bit, maybe, and I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit, but if you could, maybe walk us through a recent project or something that you all have done, where you got involved at the discovery stage and you were able to take the project, from point A to point Z, in the manner that worked out best for both yourself and the client. And what type of project is that? What does that project look like? Because as you know, we have a significant traditional AV integrator audience. And so, even for myself, outside of your website, I'm trying to wrap my head around, like, specifically what type of experience, what type of project is OpenEye Global involved with, and what does that look like? And so if you have like a use case you could share with us, that would be sweet.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. The last one we just launched just about 2 weeks ago was this one for Project Runway. Again, with Madame Tussauds in New York City. And, this one was a little bit of a challenge because, the whole premise was that, you have a customer and they want the customer to experience what it's like to be part of Project Runway. From a design, how do you, design outfits and how do you immerse them into that sort of New York studio, fashion brand loft and where they're creating these outfits. And, we were given a little bit of a blank slate to say, we want an app that'll align itself with this environment that we're creating for the guests. So, there starts the whole, brainstorming bit and saying, well, what if it was this, sort of interactive app where maybe you were sketching, were you sketching a design? Were you taking pre-baked designs? And so we were kind of thinking through, like, what's that starting point? And then, we had this idea of, well, we'll do pre-designed outfits and we'll allow the customer, the guests to kind of create their own creation. And then it's like, well, what do you do at that point? You want people to see it. So, all right, so do you put a screen on the wall so they can see it? Do you email it to them? Like, what's that user flow? And then we really kind of, the simplest way, it turned into this iPad app. And because we wanted a tablet that would fit into the designer's tablet, we saw this space. It was a designer's, the table. It was a designer's table. And we looked at it and like, well, what would be cool there? And obviously, iPad would be very cool, designers, Mac. And so the tablet looked really cool in the space. And then we started to put together this application. And, the app was a challenge itself because we're good at drawing, but we're not fashion designers. So I have a friend, who's a children's clothing designer that, I asked her for some help and we signed her on. And next thing I know is we're actually sketching out real models. We're drawing designs of clothing that have never been, before. I mean, this is real from ground up, a clothing line. It's like we already started now diving into creating a clothing line specifically for Madame Tussauds. And, here we are putting this clothing line. And now the next challenge is how do we take the designs and show other people what can be done? So next thing I know is we're now looking at screens to integrate into the wall. And how do you integrate it into the wall that makes it look presentable so the screens don't look, you want good quality. You got to look at the contrast. Now we're talking to NEC to try to figure out the right screens for this application. And then we're going back and figuring out how do we take what's coming out of the iPad and code that to be onto the wall. So there are all these challenges that we're working through as we get to it. And then we're installing it. We're, putting the screens on the wall. We're networking the iPads into the room. We're building the back end to allow them to manage the content, MT to manage the content that's being produced to it. So there's a bit of a social element. They can grab the images. And we're thinking through the social side of it. How do they broadcast it out so other people see what's going on? How does the customer maybe send that out to their social channels? And so now we're taking this all the way through to completion. And we had launched it, 2 weeks ago, and it's been a huge success. But there is kind of going from this idea of we have this space, we need this app that'll bring this space to life, and that's, by the way, that's the focal point of the space is this app, and go for it. And so, I mean, that's kind of, I know it's a little bit more simple. It's an iPad, a screen, an app, but there's all these little nuances in between of designing something that align with the space and how does it get installed and how do we, put it in a way that the customer enjoys it and then Madame Tussauds can use it as a marketable product so more people want to come and experience it.
Right. That's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. It's amazing. It seems to me because nothing that you just described is traditionally how things are created in the space that we're in. And so you guys are executing on a whole nother level. And I think that's really the direction things are going. You guys are kind of at the forefront of that, but just, creating environments and experiences for customers. It's fascinating that you bring in so many different elements and you have to bring in a sketch artist that has a background in children's clothing to design this new clothing line. Like, who thinks of that? You know what I'm saying? So that's so outside of the norm.
And I think at the core, really, it comes down to, really us harnessing our creativity. We're all so creative and Bryan has done, we're a small team. I mean, there's really, on a heavy day and soaking wet, we're like 16 people. And so, it's with that, like we're all wearing so many different hats and bringing so many different elements that we're not just a one trick pony in that sense. So a brand like Madame T's comes to us. And I think at this point, we've developed such a relationship with them that they know that they can give us this idea of a blank canvas and we're going to make our own mosaic out of it. And it's going to be unique to them. And it's really something I think we strive to do with every client that, that we bring on and every brand that we work with. And I think a key core element is that it comes down to listening. And, it's just we're always continuously listening to not just what the client and the brands are saying, but what are the customers saying? They're telling us what the customer journey is. We just have to be in a position and have the wherewithal and experience to kind of translate what they're saying and then, visually or through technology, bring that to life.
Right. And the cool thing was I saw it on y'all's Instagram. Like didn't y'all create Steven and then put him in y'all created an outfit for him.
We all got outfits.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
all got outfits. That was
I think I was in yellow.
I was like, he even had he had the orange backpack to go. I was like, man, Brandon all the way around. That was pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
So Bryan, Steven, let's talk about how the clients measure ROI, because in anything marketing, whatever industry you're in, ROI is that big. How do we measure that? So tell us a little bit about how your clients go start when they measure the, the ROI from what you all install and the experience you create?
Sure. I wish it was as simple as saying that we were like running Facebook ads and like, this is what your return was and this is how much money we made you. But experiential marketing, especially with such a design thinking behind it, is extremely difficult to measure. And the clients ask us that all the time. I mean, a lot of times it's like, great, what we're looking for is what's the return on experience. We're going to create these experiences that live, hopefully, our goal in the hearts and minds of the end user. And that ultimately is what we're always striving for. But I think across the board, some projects are more measurable or easier to measure than others. So for example, a Project Runway, there may not be a direct ROI unless there were ticket sales directly attributed to this, or there is a clothing line that spawns off of it, or something else. But we may be able to look at like a client like Westfield, where we are, managing digital wayfinding systems, inside the terminal, and we might actually be able to see with our analytics, and we do a lot, we do monthly analytics reports for Westfield, and we're actually able to see how many times this coupon was clicked and it got, sent to Starbucks, or how many times, somebody scanned their boarding pass, and we can actually have that data. So it's a tricky, and, analytics is something that over the last couple of years, we've definitely have folded in our service offerings. So it's more because the clients are always asking about ROI, and design agency, sometimes that's like the worst question you can ask a designer, because it's like, whatever, I don't have an answer for that. But when we're able to incorporate data and we're able to look at the right sets of data and how it applies to the metrics that we're putting forward, certain projects, like I said, lends itself to it. So I think just to kind of bring this all full circle, again, and Noble, you mentioned this in the beginning, we create such bespoke projects that oftentimes, if there is a proper discovery, or oftentimes when we are, writing out scopes and starting the project off, we'll find out what metrics matter, because we're not going to recommend a metric that doesn't matter to the client unless we feel it's absolutely necessary. But the client can absolutely recommend a metric that might be, important for their board of directors, or they need to report this. And so we really try to take that into account as well. So again, it's on a project by project basis, but we definitely, like I said, have incorporated analytics reporting, almost an analytics department internally, so that we can look at this data and make specific recommendations.
That's what it's coming to, right? Big data and analytics, and then you analyze it from there.
Right data, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So now let's take a step back. When we were in the introduction part, you mentioned how you got on with OpenEye. How you guys met and you came on in the branding process to take the agency to that next level. So tell us a little bit more about that branding process, and a little bit about the new logo. You guys are rocking the hats. I got to get me one of those, man. Where are they at? Are they at Lids or what?
We're working on it. And Brian, you feel free. Let's just chime in.
Yeah.
But when I first approached Brian, I mean, so much of the OpenEye brand, I think, is predicated on, even though we're location independent, it's predicated on our location. Brian's a Jersey boy at heart, and there is a roll up your sleeves, get shit done type of attitude that OpenEye. And it was like, how do we showcase that? And I think true branding isn't just a logo. True branding is everything that you talk about yourself and what you believe to be true. And me coming from a kind of a traditional branding background, one of my first exercises for OpenEye, and I think we were only at 8 or 9 people at that time, we did a brand survey. And we went around the horn, and it was anonymous. And, I put together those findings, and talk about data. I was collecting data at that point, and data is obviously very important in branding. And it was, I think first off, what do we believe to be true about the brand? And that was something that Brian and we continuously talk about. Like, what do we believe? If we don't believe it, no one else is going to believe it. And we had to come to grips with that first and understand that. And then from there, it was like, well, what do our clients perceive about us? And I remember specifically, and I brought this up in our summit a couple of weeks ago, but our last iteration of our website, we got called out at one point for having chalkboard drawings on a website, and somebody said, well, you're a digital shop. Why is there chalk on your website? That always stuck with me. And I was like, because perception is everything. So we tried to get in the mindset of what do our clients think about us, and then obviously looking. Our tagline when we first did this rebranding was future perfect. And this idea was like, what is the future bringing and how can we try to perfect that? Even though, perfection is subjective, but it was those three subsets of data and thoughts and ideas that Bryan and Sandy really took and kind of ran with. And, we developed some initial positioning statements, and we developed some initial designs. And then we ended up bringing in an outside firm just to help us out a little bit, because I truly believe that branding yourself internally is near impossible. You need to have an outside perspective, somebody who will look at you not the same way that we look at ourselves, because we're biased, obviously, to ourselves. And that really, it started with that messaging, and it started with those core few statements. I mentioned future perfect, DJs of the consumer experience, agency renegades. Those are all terms that are part of our brand Bible now that really started to define who we are. We all have this big agency background, but now we're all working on like a little, we're this little agency that could in a way at the time. And then how did that translate? We kept with the same color palette. Bryan loves the color orange, and I'm pretty fond of it myself. And we kept with the same color palette. And that outside firm that we work with actually helped us in creating the bug that you see over here. We just kept refining, and then we ended up site and moving over to WordPress and putting these new pages together, and then really starting to look at our brand. Bryan, is definitely a thought leader in the space, and a lot are influential in our own right. And so how do we create a web property that also, says, fun, culture-based, but also, hey, these guys know their stuff, and, here's blog, and here's everything, here's talking, and it's evolutionary since then, because it's always evolving. But it all started, I think, with just those first initial sessions of really trying to figure out who we are and who we want to be.
Yeah,
right.
That's always been. That's always been the challenge. And you first started. You kind of just, when you start something, you start a company. It's you just don't know what direction it's going to go in. You try this, you try that, and see what sticks and what doesn't. And kind of got to the point when Steven joined. There was things that were sticking, but we didn't really know how to take advantage of it. And there was really no strategy. He immediately joined and told me to stop posting social pictures on our Instagram account. He changed the password on me. So I lost my social privileges.
That's how it goes.
You got a back sense.
That's why, hence the other Instagram account. So, but no, it was things like that you kind of realize that it had to grow, and it had to have a strategy to it. And I think for us, that the brand, and one thing I saw is there's other groups out there that sure we compete against, and the one thing I noticed is that a lot of them don't really sell who they are that well, and what they do and their culture. And we started to notice that people are just our clients are liking to hang out with us. There's something about who we are, what we do, that's that they enjoy being around. And that's where you kind of realize that this culture that we have it's a huge selling point. That's our calling card. We are creative bunch or fun bunch to be around, I think, and it's who we, and that's why we promote it, because I think that's a really good selling point for ourselves, and it's something that I think we're all really proud of, that we've created organically. And I think there's a lot of agencies out there that can know how to do it, and then we just keep finding ways to add more definition and character to the brand, hence Pixel. that kind of spawned out of some just conversations of ourselves shooting the shit at a bar. Kind of saying, how do we push the brand the next time? And it's kind of funny because that's how we are. It's like we're friends, and when we're having drinks, we're talking about, well, it's some other cool things that we can do to the brand because we just enjoy it. So it's not like I don't know, it's a job, but it's not a job. It's like a lifestyle that sort of encompasses, both. It's
definitely a lifestyle. I mean, I think for a while there was a struggle, right? Do we have an office? Do we not have an office? And then the day came where we planted our flag, and no, we're location independent. We operate virtually. We live in a global economy, and our clients are global, and it's in our name. So listen, we're global, and that idea of just having, we're all professionals. We're all at the top of our game in this agency, and it's how do we continue to leverage that? And there's trust, and there's a lot of trust within us. There's a lot of, we're all taking on a lot of responsibility, and that definitely, I think, portrays in if we were just having all this fun, we wouldn't be profitable and we wouldn't be successful. But it's a matter of, we're balancing work. We're balancing this lifestyle, and it is just that. It's the Open Eye Global lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about you guys when I met y'all. It was refreshing to meet two people that were representing a company, but you all were yourselves, like you could definitely tell the brand was the lifestyle. I can tell that the other people on the team, the culture of what y'all were doing was across the board, and it's just so present, man. It's pretty amazing to watch, and especially from DSE to now, and just how the brand has grown from then to now. It's great, man.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Bryan, Steven, so you guys, since you are remote and your clients are global, I would assume then I'm kind of trying to get my head around like the tools and stuff that you guys use when you're communicating. Obviously, I would assume video is part of that. But when you're having to do like document sharing with, project management software, like what are some of the tools that you guys use to get everyone around the table together virtually?
It's all the standard apps I think a lot of other big agencies use. We're all on Google environment, so Google Docs, Drive, Sheets, a little bit with Microsoft and the cloud. Our creative team, we're all subscribed to Adobe and the Creative Cloud. We use Teamwork for all our project management. Active Campaign for our marketing, and a little bit of our CRM. Xero is our accounting platform. I love that program. We had QuickBooks, switched away from that. Xero, ADP for payroll. I mean, the funny thing is that, at any day, I could control anything from my phone, and the bean counter of Sharon, our controller, who she's out in Bainbridge Island, and she can do everything again remotely. I literally can check in on my phone right now and see everything that's going on and not miss a beat. And we're able to share with our clients, through all those means as well, very professional. And that's all those systems are there now, and they're, what's nice is that they become more affordable too. Before you didn't have that ability to, you had to set up a server, you had to VPN, and now it's, there's just more and more apps that, Steven and I and Andy are finding to present to clients, to do mood boards, to do conceptual drawings, 3D fly-throughs. There's so many apps out there that we can create something in, render it, email it out, present it remotely, Skype. We use Join Me. All these tools are ones that the big boys are using. So
right.
It's there. It's cool. It's very cool that it's there.
Awesome. Well, I'm a tool stack guy, so I had to ask.
Yeah, no. It's a good question. I remember years ago I was even joking about when I started this, there was no GoDaddy. I was like, damn it. It was you had to go to Network Solutions, you had to buy the URL, and then you had to go find a web provider, and you had to spend a couple $100 a month to get, the web, and there was no WYSIWYG editor. It was like Dreamweaver. And I think even like it was like Dreamweaver, and there was like Front Page at the time.
Front Page, right?
Yeah, and then like I ended up doing it in Flash because that was like the thing at the time. And now
you just dated yourself, Bryan, by saying Flash.
I got it.
That's funny. Well, guys, we're gonna switch gears real quick and talk about what's on the horizon for OpenEye. We know that the New York Digital Signage Week is quickly approaching, and so we wanted to find out like what's on the itinerary for OpenEye, and what are some of the different things that you all have planned that week.
Yeah, wow, it's actually like 2 weeks away. So we're hosting a tour on the 1st with our friends from NEC at Madame Tussauds to take people through several of the experiences we created there, including Project Runway. So we're doing that. That's on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I'm actually going to be the host of SUDD's X Lab. That's down at the School of Visual Arts. So that's an all-day event. This year it's about Era of Disruption. So it's definitely one to check out. And then I'll be popping in at the NEC Halloween party. I just got my Halloween costume the other day. So I'm pretty.
Dare I ask?
It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. You know what it is? I got to be honest with you. It is
it's not safe for work. That's what it is.
it's probably not. It's like an outfit you pull on, but it's like a German guy. It looks like a German guy is carrying you, but he's really not. It's called a carry me outfit. And
I don't even know. Oh my God.
It's pretty dope. I'm gonna send a lot of pictures of that. And yeah, I think it's gonna be awesome. So watch out for me, especially with that.
Watch out for Carry Me Bryan walking down the street. The next version of Tickle Me Elmo. Carry Me Bryan walking down the street.
But no, that's what's going on that week, and then we'll just be, we're probably going to stop by the Barco event. Chris Netto sent me over the info for that, and a couple other things probably with our friends at Daily Dude too. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for the tour. It's cool. I mean, we did it last year. It was for Ghostbusters. This year we have a few more projects that went live, and so it's going to be a little bit longer, and it's kind of perfect too.
Alicia, you'll be on it, right?
Yeah, we'll be there.
Sweet.
Nova's coming with me. We'll be there.
So that's going to be awesome.
So
we'll be checking it out.
It's gonna be a good week.
So on the tour, you're partnered with NEC, right?
Yeah. So I mean, we all the displays for all the experiences in there are NEC.
Okay.
We have a good relationship with those guys. They've been really helpful in helping us figure out the right screens to use for each application. I know it sounds kind of simple and saying, well, just a screen's a screen, but when you're able to really talk to someone and understand the contrast and the brightness and into the bezel and how it integrates and heat ventilation and all those questions, and those guys have been there for us and have always helped us really kind of understand their product line more than I think sometimes their website ends up talking about it. So, they've been a good resource for us, and the product too has also stood the test of time since, we haven't had any problems with them, and, they've been going really well. So yeah, so I thought, it'd be a good idea for the two of us to kind of show off some of the work. And, plus it's a different, it's not retail, it's not financial, it's themed entertainment. So it's an entirely different space. And I think some people, don't give enough credit into that space, or they kind of forget, the Disneys of the world, like that's themed entertainment, and that's a huge growth area. So it's cool to show it off.
Yeah, it's cool to watch you guys in NEC partner and collaborate on a lot of different things too.
Yeah, I mean, Rich and his team, they're another interesting bunch to hang out with. They give us a run for our money at times.
Shout out to Rich, another part of the fun gang.
Awesome. Well, last question I have for you is really kind of around engagement. And so in your experience, and I understand that every project, every application is different and unique, but what are maybe one or two of the best ways that you guys have found to create engagement with an audience? Maybe that audience is, whether that's in a corporate environment, whether that's a themed experience like what's coming up. What are some of the unique ways that you guys have found to create engagement?
Part of it goes back to relevance. I think we found it's, you can put experiences up, but if there's no relevance to why, what the audience is looking for or expecting, it's never going to be successful. So we always try to make sure it's aligned with what their expectations are coming into it. The second part is that there needs to be a hook. There needs to be something like a storytelling perspective to tie them, to bring them into it. So, what's something that captures, that keeps their attention? What's something that, resonates with them? And then I think the third is I think people need to come away feeling like satisfied. So what's a call to action? What makes them feel that they spent that time coming there, that they're leaving there with something? There's a takeaway. There's a, from Project Runway, there's a takeaway of I designed that. Or if they're leaving, Westfield, they found, a bite to eat before jumping on the plane. There's a takeaway. There's the feeling of satisfaction from that experience. And I feel like you need to have those three elements to really have something be successful. And so we always look to tie those three into it, for anything that we're working on.
Got it.
That was the perfect answer.
Nice.
That was like the perfect answer. I like that. So before we wrap it up, as we come into the end of the segment here, Bryan, tell us some tools that you'll recommend to the listeners that'll help them get started in experience marketing, or something that they can go out and take immediate action on or grab from your website.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, you can get to us online, openeyeglobal.com. We have a lot of blogs that we're constantly posting. We have a couple ebooks that we published, one last year, the A to Z Guide to Digital Experience, that you can find on our website. We have another one that's coming out soon that talks about sort of getting a digital signage project off the ground from really that RFP through to delivery. There's some other references and links from our website as well that we're putting onto there, and videos that we're creating. And then, there's just an amazing amount of trade shows and organizations that are advocates for this as well. I mean, you'll find a few that we reference on our website as well. DSC, SCGD, those guys are we're big supporters of them. Digital Signage Federation. I'd recommend checking those guys out. And and constantly just follow us. I mean, we're always sharing our experiences. We're putting it into blogs, to thought pieces, to articles. Definitely look out for our new ebook that's dropping within a couple weeks. So you'll be able to get that through our website as well.
Sweet.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll definitely include a link to those resources, and as well as a link back to the website and all that stuff in the show notes.
That's
but
awesome.
Now we get to transition to the lightning round.
Oh boy.
So, so the lightning round, Alicia, who's in the hot seat for the lightning round?
Steven's in the hot seat for the lightning round since he's been dropping in and out. Now you're in the hot seat.
Right. I come back. I hope my Wi-Fi's stable for this because it's getting hot up in here.
So Steven, so here's how it's going to work. We're going to drill you with random questions for 60 seconds. So the objective is to answer as many questions as you can within that 60 seconds. Alicia's going to be asking you the questions. I'm going to be keeping time. I'll alert you at 30 seconds. And then again, when there's 10 seconds left, and we'll go ahead and get this thing kicked off.
All right, let's
do
do
it. You ready?
Yep.
Let's go. All right. Favorite place to eat?
No.
NY or
My
LA?
house.
NY
New York
or
all
LA?
day. York.
How many pairs of shoes do you own?
Currently 3.
Pick one: a slice of pizza, slice of pie, slice of cake, or a slice of cheese.
A pizza all day. Pizza.
Do you have any pets?
Nope.
30 seconds.
Hockey or soccer?
Soccer.
First celebrity crush?
Christy Yamaguchi.
Have you ever worn socks and sandals?
Never. Nah, yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Oh
10
no!
seconds.
How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
Probably like 4.
Favorite carnival food?
Funnel cakes.
And time.
Wow.
I knew you wore socks with sandals.
But like, it wasn't like I was out and about. It was just, like a pair of Adidas's and like soccer socks or something. So like, and yes,
Don't
Brian,
come to
Christy Yamaguchi.
I don't even know.
How many questions is that, Alicia?
That was 10.
That's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. I think that's right up there near the top.
That is up near the top. That was pretty
fun.
good.
That was fun.
Awesome. Well done. Well, we appreciate you playing there, Stephen. And
Thanks, man.
well, this will be good. This will be good stuff here. All right, guys. So real quick, if you can just both of you take a minute to tell the listeners how they can reach you, either your social handles or however they can best get a hold of you.
Yeah, I think for OpenEye, and I think mentioned it, check us out at opal.com. On the social networks, the big 4, whatever, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and even Facebook at OpenEye Global. We're all right there. And then for me personally, I like Twitter, so connect with me at Picanza. So that's at Picanza.
And you can find me Instagram, August in Jersey, and then on Twitter at simply at Bryan Meszaros. And everywhere else, LinkedIn, and yeah, that's it.
You basically just Google us, and we're like, hopefully our SEO is good enough, and we're on the first page.
Sweet. We'll definitely put the links there for those social channels in the show notes. And Alicia, what else you got for us?
As we wrap it up, I want to talk about the season 2 giveaways. We definitely like to do giveaways. In this season, we have a Peerless unit. It's a Peerless Air unit. And Noble, I think we should give a little bit more information on our website about that unit, and that might help everybody understand what it really does. But basically, you can use it for visual aspect of it. And then also, the holidays are coming up. What better way to celebrate with a slice of pie?
Right.
I love pie. I love pie. So we're going to do a pie giveaway for the holidays as well.
Nice.
All right.
I like the whole ties in. I like the whole slice thing going on. Like, that's nice. It's good branding.
That's right. Good branding. There you go. So we'll keep it up with the slice, and for the holidays, we'll hook somebody up with a nice hot pie.
So yeah, definitely for the listeners and the viewers, just stay tuned to our Twitter channel. We'll be putting out some instructions on how you can participate in the giveaway for both of those items. So check us out there. And in closing, Brian, Stephen, we appreciate you guys for jumping on. This was a super exciting episode. We just are absolutely ecstatic about what you guys are doing. And just being innovative in the industry, and so we appreciate you spending the time with us today.
Thanks for having us, Drew. Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us.
Oh yeah, we'll see y'all soon.
Awesome.
Hi guys.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. Another successful episode of the Social Slice Podcast. Tune in with us next week as we bring you another exciting episode. Peace.
Peace out.
And cuts.
Thanks for listening to the show. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Jump on over to iTunes to leave a rating and review. This will help us improve our ranking and grow our brand. We appreciate your feedback.
Also, be sure to check out the show notes on socialslice.io, where you can link to all the resources mentioned in today's episode.
Want to join us on the show? Or you have an idea about a future topic? Follow us on Twitter at Social Slice Show or Facebook at Social Slice.
Tune in next week as we bring you more tools, tips, and strategies to help you connect, engage, and grow your brand.